Good afternoon and welcome to the Penn State community. I'm Ben Manning and we're all very excited to have the future class of 2024 join us. Congratulations on your offers of acceptance to Penn State. Graduating high school and choosing where to go next is an exciting time, but we all know how complex it is right now, and that's why we're hosting this series of questions and answer sessions to let you hear from the leaders of Penn State, the faculty members that will be teaching you, fellow Penn State students, and alumni who have graduated from Penn State and are already out there making a difference in their community and the world. We're hosting 4 Q&A sessions, but today we're going to be focusing on the strength of the Penn State community, which I got to tell you is a really great topic for us today. If you missed any of the previous live sessions, check out the recorded videos at class of2024.psu.edu, where this is being streamed. On May 14th, Dr. Barron and other Penn Staters discussed Penn State's flexibility to meet individual needs and covered topics including fall deferrals, financial questions, international students, and Flex Start. On May 18th, Damon Sims and others discussed the Penn State student experience, another very fun topic, and covered topics including the college experience, transitioning to college, and much more. Hosting the discussion today will be Marie Harden, who is the Dean of the Donald P. Belisario College of Communications. Give him a little wave.
Hey, everybody.
She is committed to fostering a strong community inside and outside of the classroom among all of our students, faculty, staff, and alumni. And joining us will be Jackie Edmondson, who is the Chancellor at Penn State Greater Allegheny and has an extensive career here at Penn State, helping our students grow through meaningful and lifelong connections. Beth Seymour, who is an Associate Teaching Professor at Penn State Altoona, is also dedicated to scholarship and high-impact practices for student learning, and she is the Chair-elect of the Penn State University Faculty Senate. Cynthia Hairston, who is the class of 2021, she started at Penn State Fayette and is serving as Vice President of the Council of Commonwealth Student Governments. Nanad Mahajan is a Schreier Honor Scholar from the class of 2021 as well and is developing biomedical engineering solutions for people in developing countries. Marie, would you get us started with a few words, please?
I would be happy to. First, I just want to say congratulations, class of 2024. I know I'm talking to a very special group, a talented group that has earned a place in our community. And I know that this is an exciting time for you, but let me tell you, it's also an exciting time for us, and I want to tell you why that is. Even though commencement is behind us and we're into the summer months, we have been reading about you. We've been thinking about you. We've been talking about you and to you, and now we're so excited to get ready to meet you. And I want to tell you that our students are ready to make new friends for a lifetime. Our faculty are getting ready to bring you into the classroom and to challenge you to do better work than you've ever done before as you aspire towards your hopes and dreams. And finally, our alumni, they are ready to engage and support you. I'm so excited about meeting all of you, class of 2024.
I can't wait to meet you too, so thank you very much for tuning in. And thank you, Marie. We have received many questions about the Penn State community through the portal we set up, so thank you all for submitting them. We're going to try and get through as many of them as we can related to this topic of community, so let's jump right into those questions. Marie, we've gotten several for you. So many questions about the community, such as how is this feeling of community being affected by virtual classes? Could you share your thoughts on this?
Yeah, when we think about community is not about buildings, and it's not about a physical campus. Community is about relationships. And I think that is such a powerful driver of everything we do at Penn State. And I want to tell you just one little story that I think captures the power of community as we transitioned during the past semester from in-person to online and remote learning. So I was talking to, there's a student at our college, and of course this story could be from across any of the campuses at Penn State, a student who had a class during the spring semester that was several hours long. And the class spanned into the evening. And every class, it was a once a week class, the class would stop for just a short break, and the professor would have the students eat dinner together. And what a strong community building activity that was. So when the class went remote, the student was really disappointed because she knew she was going to miss that. But you know what? The professor created that sort of break time for the students to bring their snacks and their dinners, and they continued that tradition even into remote learning. And that's an example of the kind of strength our community has. And again, that example could be from anywhere across Penn State.
That was a wonderful story. And Dr. Barron has stressed several times that we are planning to be in person in the fall, but it's really encouraging to hear that no matter what, that sense of community is going to last no matter what the environment is. Thank you so much. Jackie, what have you learned about the Penn State community in your various roles, of which there have been many? AVP for undergraduate education, and now Chancellor of Greater Allegheny, as well as a professor yourself.
Thank you so much, Ben. I couldn't agree with Dr. Harden more. The relationships are really what makes such a difference at Penn State. So I have this unique vantage point about Penn State because I've had 20 years working at Penn State. But in addition to that, I'm a Penn State alumna. Both of my sons have graduated from Penn State. I have nephews who were part of the Change of Campus program and graduated from Penn State, starting either at Mount Alto or Harrisburg. I have a nephew who is also did his graduate work at Penn State and now teaches in the math department at University Park. And so I have these different vantage points from which to understand this university. And across the board, the thing that I see the most is that the people really make a difference at Penn State. Penn State is such a tight-knit community. And I'll tell you, when I started as a 17-year-old undergraduate student, people talked about this network and alumni association, and I had no idea what that meant. But I will say that no matter where you go in the world, you find Penn Staters, and it's just remarkable. And what brings Penn Staters together is this common bond and this commitment to solving problems and taking on challenges. So you see faculty, staff, students, and alumni just addressing the most relevant questions in our society and coming up with solutions. And so given that, I'm really excited for this incoming class because I believe there's really no better time to become a Penn Stater than now, because our Penn State community is going to be on the front edge of solving the problems that we're seeing in the world today, and our new students will have every opportunity to become part of that.
Thank you so much. Beth, as a professor at Penn State Altoona, what is the community like on your campus?
Well, it's like the community, I think, throughout all the campuses at Penn State. It is all about the relationships that we build and the ways that we support each other throughout all of our years at Penn State. So for example, we have some very tight-knit communities. Our environmental studies community is incredibly tight-knit. They come into the program at the very beginning and they work their way all the way through the 4 years. They do a lot of different field works and different hands-on opportunities. Even now, with the way we are having to physically distance, they're still able to do a lot of that because they're dealing with the parks and different environments where they can do that separately while still coordinating with each other back with their own work projects. And I think that just gives an example of the ways in which we as faculty and staff think about how to support our students as they build these communities that are such a foundational aspect of our work.
Thank you. And I think that's a great thing to remember, because that support from your fellow Penn Staters is going to be there for you and with you throughout your entire career here. Cynthia, how does the Council of Commonwealth Student Governments work to create community among the students?
Okay, so for 60 years, the Council of Commonwealth Student Governments has always been there as the representative for student bodies, not only the student bodies, but their presidents. There are 19 presidents and vice presidents of Penn State student bodies, and they are stellar in their work and they're always on top of things. But imagine what happens when everything has to be virtual and a pandemic happens. And students may think, or people may think, well, this is it. The year's over, our terms are over. No, not 1 second did you see a let up in the student body presidents and vice presidents, any other representative, the senators, the entire council, everybody almost, no, I would say that it definitely increased in productivity. People were doing 25%, 50% more, and making sure that student representation was at the forefront of everything that was happening, regardless of whether it had to be done virtually. You have international students that are on the other side of the world that are meeting at 3 a.m. because they're dedicated. And that's Penn State community. And that's what CCSG has definitely made sure that has been the face of students, and their academics have not let up. Nothing. You have seen nothing but people becoming more productive and more focused on what does this look like for not me, but for everyone, for all of us.
Thank you so much for that. And I'm sure your fellow students are thanking you guys for all of your efforts as well. Nanad, how does community play a pivotal role in improving a student's college experience here? And I'm thinking about an article that you wrote several years ago that I found on the internet.
Yeah, absolutely. And when I wrote that article several years ago, the main thing that I was citing when I was saying that is similar to how it was said before, where people are kind of the driving force behind the community at Penn State. I find that one of the additional driving forces that really helps build this community is through the numerous student organizations that Penn State has to offer its students. I know for a fact that, especially during this difficult time when we've not been able to, enjoy time with our friends or our close friends in our organizations on campus, a lot of campus organizations have taken to using virtual means, whether it's through Zoom or other services online, to ensure that activities and bonding is still happening between members of student organizations while away from campus. And when we're on campus, as I've seen over the past 3 years, I find student organizations are a really good way for students to help kind of focus their passions and their interests when they get onto campus, and to kind of give students a life outside of academics as well. That really does help facilitate that whole really full college experience that Penn State has to offer.
That's an excellent point. Thank you very much. Marie, we've gotten several questions about the college experience involving meeting new people and sharing ideas and developing relationships. We just heard from some of our students talking about how joining a student group is a great way to do that. But what advice would you have?
In terms of being involved, joining a student group is a wonderful way to do that. Here's another piece of advice that I would give you in terms of being engaged and making the most of this community. Get to know your professors. They are eager to meet you where you are, to get to know you, to help you on your journey. And to do that, make sure that you reach out to them. They're going to be eager to talk with you and to engage with you and to help you towards your goals. So don't miss the opportunity to get to know your professors.
Thank you. And that effort from the professors is going to go on no matter what. So can you share some examples for us about who might be really going above and beyond during this time of virtual?
Yeah, it's been so heartwarming, yet not surprising, to see all of the things that our faculty have done. You know, a goal of the faculty here at Penn State is to meet students where they are and then to help them move forward on their journey. So when we went to virtual learning and to remote learning, it was so much fun to see the creative ways that faculty reached out to students and kept in touch with students via social media platforms, obviously Zoom, our online learning platform, phone, text. It was a lot of fun to see. And just a few examples, the libraries started hosting game nights and trivia nights for students to join. The students in the College of Engineering, and of course this kind of thing was happening across Penn State, but students in the College of Engineering got a burst of positive energy every day in an email from the dean.
Those are great examples. We should all join in for trivia night next time.
Absolutely.
Jackie, what are you doing at your campus to help increase this strength of community?
Sure. And so you might notice that our campus has the word greater in it. I like to brag that we're the only campus that has the word greater in it. And one of the things that we do is take advantage of that. And the motto of our campus is to be greater. And so one of the things that we do is to bring students together to find out when they have had the opportunity to be greater because they've been part of Penn State. And across the board, there are two things I'll share. One is our campus does what's called Unity Talks. And so these are student-driven talks where they come together and address issues of diversity and inclusion and equity and some of the challenges that they're facing in the world. The students drive the talks, but the faculty and staff participate. And often when we ask students later about their Be Greater moments, the Be Greater moments are connected to the Unity Talks. We have a student, Keitha Duhaney, who just graduated from University Park. And oh, Cynthia, do you know her? Isn't she awesome? Yeah, and so Keitha, one of her Be Greater moments was helping to organize the Unity Talks, which are just really incredible. And I'm always so pleased to be part of those. The other thing we do is we have, going along with that theme of meeting students where they are, we have first generation programming for our students. And we have about half of our students are first in their family to go to college. Many of our faculty and staff are also first in their families to go to college. And so we have a lot of programming around that, including, I'm also a first generation college student, and so we wear pins so that students on our campus know that we are also first generation students. And it's been really fun because when people come to our campus from other locations, including Provost Jones and Dr. Haynes and other folks, they'll put the pins on too. And our students think it's just so amazing to be able to connect with other people who were first in their family to go to college and have gone on to have very successful careers. And in fact, one of the students who participated in our event, one of our events last year, came to me later and said, I just feel this sense of community around being a first generation student. I'm sad that my son won't also be a first generation student. And I was like, no, we're really proud of you that your son is not going to be a first generation student, but I'm glad you're feeling connected now. And she graduated last spring, and we're really so proud of all of her accomplishments too.
That's great. And it doesn't matter if he's first generation, second generation, we're absolutely thrilled to have him here at Penn State. Beth, we've been hearing about innovative practices amongst professors, so how are you keeping students engaged?
I find that one of the best ways to keep students engaged is to reach out to them. And it's been kind of, in some ways, the having to go to remote instruction or remote advising has been beneficial because it's meant that as you reach out to students, sometimes I think students feel more comfortable being able to be approached by a faculty member in that kind of remote environment. And so I actually think just directly reaching out and connecting and listening to the students' problems and are there concerns, are there successes or whatever is the best way to make sure that the student is where they need to be so that they can keep progressing through their education and through their goals in life.
And that goes right along with that theme of meeting students where they are, which you're going to find out that every Penn Stater is doing that for you. So please come join us. Cynthia, how have advisors and faculty members like the ones we've been hearing from helped you to get more involved at Penn State, both at Fayette and here at University Park?
Right. So yeah, starting at Penn State Fayette, I had an academic advisor, and I have always been a biology major. And honestly, I don't think I would have been a successful biology major if I did not have the academic advisor that I had. She was the one who pushed me. And although I was going in as a freshman, and as a freshman, you're getting in out of high school, and you kind of think, if you're traditional or maybe non-traditional, you might be starting later. Both are perfectly fine. And you're thinking, what am I actually getting into? I am so glad that she pushed me my freshman year. My biology 110, which is the easiest biology that you'll take, was the hardest class that I've had because of her. If she didn't believe in me and give me that drive, and one time I did not do as well as I would on a test, and I think it was like a B. And she was upset because she said, you know what? You know that you could have done better than that. It wasn't necessarily about the B. It was about what she saw in me, and it was about the fact that she knew that there was always more that I could do. So anytime that I was slacking, you would think, being in college, oh, professors, they don't care. They don't care if you're coming to class. They don't care about your grades. Yes, they do. And she pulled me aside after class and she said, you're going to med school, hit those books. You know what I'm talking about. And I've done it ever since. And honestly, it's more than just having that parent that pushes you or that best friend that pushes you. You have these advisors that do that. And that doesn't just stop at academics. You have advisors of all the clubs of Penn State at every single campus. And they are the ones who are going to see sparks in you. And they're the ones who are going to pull you aside as well and say, hey, look, your public speaking, that was excellent. How would you like to join X, Y, and Z? Hey, look, I saw the work that you did over here. Hey, would you want to come join us over here? And that's my experience with advisors. And that's all I've seen was it's not just the academics that push you. It's also just having everybody kind of push you and doing it in the most comfortable way and also doing it in the most caring way. Professors are going to notice your grades. They're going to notice whether you're turning things in. They're going to notice your attendance and your participation, even in really large classes. So it's definitely not just about you're here to be here or you're here because you have tuition. It's honestly, you're here because you go to Penn State and you're going to be making a difference outside of this. And you're going to be a part of a large alumni network. And we know that you can come out of this more amazing than what you even started. So that's another just form of really outstanding community that you see.
That was a fantastic story. Thank you for sharing that with us. Nanad, what role do student leaders like yourself play in building community for those new students? We've got a lot of people coming in and they'd like to know what they can look to their peers for.
Absolutely. So one personal experience that I can share is being a part of the Stride Honors College. Over the past 2 years, I had the privilege of serving as our student council's vice president. And it's funny because the mission of our student council really is centralized around community and building specifically for first-year students that are just come into Penn State and are looking to kind of get their feet down and really cement their place, whether it's in the Honors College community or the overall Penn State community as a whole. And so in terms of us serving as student leaders, there's a variety of ways that we kind of help build that community. One, we try to display ourselves as mentors and kind of guide our first-year students, especially in areas such as maybe what classes to take, specific ways to get involved on campus. And you kind of feel that you kind of create some sort of rapport with the other incoming first-year students in the sense that you not only do you make a friend in the process, but you also help kind of share your experiences with them in that way. So I think that's one really good way of building community is sharing those experiences. And apart from that, I mean, being on that student council that's all about community, you kind of find that Penn State, as big of a school as it is, to kind of find your home and find your place at Penn State, it's all about creating kind of that smaller home or that smaller sub-community within the overall Penn State community. And like I was saying earlier, by getting yourself involved in these student organizations, you find all these little mini sub-communities. There might be overlap between them, but what you find is that there's so many different little regions of interest that people have that you can find kind of a diverse group of people that you can kind of familiarize yourself with and really get to know over the course of your time at Penn State. So once again, I think the power of those student orgs and kind of bringing people together kind of helps you, especially when you're propelled into those leadership positions, really helps you make a difference in terms of building community among peers.
Nanad, thank you so much for sharing that, because we have gotten some people ask us how they can find their place in somewhere as big as Penn State, because we are a very big university. And I think that was great advice to finding those student groups, finding those places, those subcultures, as you put it, where you find people who like to do the same things that you do. Thank you for that great advice. Marie, what advice do you have for incoming freshmen to help them feel like they belong here?
There are so many things that you can do, and the first thing I would tell you is you're going to be asked when you arrive to be part of programs and activities that are really designed to help you take advantage of all of the opportunities we offer right away. And I want to remind you that we are all invested in your success. Your success is our success. And we want to orient you very quickly around what I call the 3 C's. That is the challenges you're going to face in the classroom, getting you ready for that. Also helping you understand all of the campus opportunities there are. That's the 2nd C. And when I say campus, that's really about the community and the relationships and the student organizations. And then the 3rd C is career opportunities and how we're going to help you reach your career hopes and dreams. So I would advise you, participate in those activities and those programs to their fullest. Ask questions and engage.
See, this is why I like working with people in the communications area. They have mnemonic devices to help us remember everything.
3 C's.
That's great. I like it. 3 C's. Jackie, with your background in higher education and student affairs, what would you say to some incoming Penn State students to help them acclimate as well and be successful?
I think the thing I would really encourage the students to do is to dream. Penn State is a place where your dreams can be fulfilled. And so don't be afraid to think outside of the box, connect with one another, dream about what's possible and where you want to go. And we are here to help you reach those dreams. We can draw, no matter where you are at Penn State, whatever campus location you are, we draw on the broader resources of the university, whether it's the student engagement network, teaching and learning with technology. The Penn State libraries are incredible resources for our students. Every international programs, study abroad, study away, everything is possible. And so don't let your imagination limit you and just dream about what may be possible.
Beth, we mentioned your role in the Faculty Senate, and students that are incoming might think that, well, they just deal with matters for the faculty members. But your guys are really there to support students, and a lot of the actions you take are to help them. So in that role, how do you guys support the community here at Penn State and that community of students?
Well, the Faculty Senate represents all of the faculty across the university. So we focus on the academic mission. And within that academic mission is, of course, building the backbone to help support the community of students across the university. We do it through policy. We do it with discussion with student leaders who are very much a part of the organization. So that representation is directly into the heart of the Senate. And we do it in myriad ways. We try to stay attuned to what the students' needs are to help them survive and succeed and flourish, to follow the dreams like Jackie talked about at the university, whether that's helping to break down barriers so that they can take advantage of opportunities that they weren't familiar with, or whether it's helping to ease some of the financial strains that some policy can help loosen for students. A good example recently with having to go to remote learning is we knew that was causing potentially causing stress with students as they moved from one environment to another in which they had to study and flourish. And so the Senate moved to create an alternative grading policy that was devised and flexible with students in mind. So to help encourage students to still keep working and to try to make that transition with the help of their faculty. So they still received grades, A's, B's, C's, etc. But the alternative strategy allowed them the support at the end once they received the grade. And they knew that because of that transition and struggle that they didn't earn the grade they would have wished, to be able to opt in for an alternative grade that doesn't impact their GPA in the same way while keeping the integrity of that grade still in place. So I think that's just a really good example of how the Senate works hard to help support the community of students across the university.
Thank you for that. And that was a wonderful thing. And we heard from many students that really appreciated your efforts in that regard. Cynthia, as someone who has been at multiple campuses, a member of numerous student organizations, why was it so important to you to be so involved?
So it has always been very important to me since my freshman year. I've been a part of student government. I've been in Thon. I am now a part of the executive board of State of State, which is to talk about the past, present, and future of Penn State, and to get students involved in speeches as well as the community and as well as alumni. And that type of networking and that type of just pride in everything that you do is just absolutely fascinating. Honestly, I'm in my senior year. You would think that, by the time you're in your senior year, you're ready to just brush off those types of things. It's never been in me just because there's too many opportunities. So why would you not take them? There are so many outlets that Penn State allows you to be able to be a part of. And once again, going back to that, it's very non-campus specific. There is something for everyone, everywhere for Penn State. And even if it's not a diverse area, or even if it's not a diverse campus or club, honestly, the inclusivity is, you feel the inclusivity. You may not see everyone that's all different types of people, but people, no matter what you are, make you feel included. And I think that Penn State and that being a priority has really shown through, because now you're starting to see people feel included. So now places are in turn becoming diverse, because people are thinking, well, if I feel comfortable, this is a place that I want to be. And I absolutely have had that experience both at the campus at University Park, and honestly, just being a part of CCSG on every single campus that we visited or had a council at. And once again, I would have to say that when it comes to community, it is definitely about everyone making sure that you feel like you belong. So from what got me started from my freshman year was definitely that people being able to see that spark in you and nobody overlooking you, and understanding that there was always a place for you. And if you can't necessarily find your place, try something out and it will definitely come to you. And I really do feel like it's not about what somebody else thinks you can or can't do at the end of the day, whatever you put your mind to. And I know people just hear this and they think, oh, that's just a saying. No, honestly, whatever you put your mind to and whatever you put the work into, you will definitely see the greatness of it all. And I think that that's what Penn State community has had to offer before any of us came and beyond any of us. And to be a part of that, just to know that you can be a part of that with those same types of people, with those same mindsets is absolutely impeccable.
Thank you so much for sharing that perspective. Nanad, you're also highly involved in various groups and campus and internships on top of your traditional schoolwork. So how have all these extra activities contributed to your time here at Penn State?
Absolutely. I think it's given me a really holistic kind of view of everything in terms of being an engineer. I'm not sure if I mentioned this, but I study engineering at Penn State, and I think it's probably one of the best decisions I made as a student here. I knew that I had a lot of different diverse interests coming in academically, whether it's professionally through internships, and even socially, and I found that this kind of course of study really helped supplement that the best. And in terms of community, I can tell you that academic advisors have played a huge role in my academic career as an engineer. I can tell you faculty have played a huge role in whether it's my research opportunities that I've had, whether it's professors that I've had in classes that I've really been able to develop strong relationships with, to the point where we've had even conversations outside the realm of engineering, things like that. And I think it's really, in terms of Penn State, it's really about where you can find that community within. I think maybe as a first year student, if you asked me 3 years ago, I wouldn't have thought that I would be able to get that close with a professor at a school this large. But I think what's so special is that the ability to kind of create that community, that whether it's small or big, however you see it and however you see fit, is really, really possible. And it's all about kind of reaching out to people and getting involved, like I was saying before. One thing that I wanted to say in terms of the general piece of advice is, you hear a lot of the times, make the most out of everything you do. But I also like to supplement that by saying, do the things that you'll make the most out of. And I know that at Penn State, there's a lot of things that you can make the most out of. And it's kind of up to you when you come to campus and explore the opportunities that Penn State has to offer, to kind of go about making those decisions such that you can have kind of the best time and make the most out of your 4 years or how many of your years you spend at Penn State.
Thank you. That was wonderful. Marie, we have a question for you. What does Penn State do to foster that sense of community for everyone, including students from different backgrounds or whatever their permanent residence is or physical abilities, etc.?
That's a great question. And I guess what I would say is we are excludes no one. And we are includes everyone. And that's a very strong value here at Penn State that resonates through everything that we do. And I would tell you, you'll see it in the array of student organizations, but you're also going to see it in the support services that we provide across our communities for all of our students. No matter what groups the students may be from, we want to support you. We also want you to have all of the opportunities that you need to succeed.
Thank you very much. Beth, as the Study Away Coordinator at Penn State Altoona, what should students know about that opportunity? While most students can't study abroad as a freshman, this is something that many people are interested in.
Yeah, thank you. And in fact, I've had a lot of our prospective students reaching out to me already to ask me about the opportunities for study abroad. The university supports many study abroad programs. They're all developed primarily by our faculty. And if they're not developed by our faculty, they're supported by our programs. They're a wide variety, and I think that's one of the most interesting things, and maybe one of the best things, is that we offer so many different options at Penn State where you can decide that you can find a study abroad program that fits your academic needs, or it might fit your personal needs, or it might fit your professional needs. So getting back to some of what Marie was talking about, thinking about career, these things can be woven together. And I find students really see that. And if I can give a piece of advice for students coming into the university, to think about that early, if you can. Again, going back to what Jackie said, dream big. So think about what you might want to do and start having a discussion with someone like me. There's many of me's across the university here to help you and talk to you and guide you, and find the right match for you, your interests, your desires, and how that's going to help you fulfill your career goals. One of the things that a lot of employers are really looking for these days are those kinds of activities like internships or study abroad or study away, which is domestic. They're looking for those kinds of engagements and activities because they help students really define what they want to do, and it makes you such a stronger communicator.
Now, I understand you had a really great study abroad experience. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Absolutely, yeah. So after my first year at Penn State, I had the privilege of going to Spain for a 2-week study abroad program to study product design. So there's a lot of reasons that I felt that this program was the best fit for me. For one, I took 4 years of Spanish in high school and really wanted to get kind of a real world experience on what it would be like to speak the language in a native country. But in addition, the timing of the study abroad program was the most kind of crucial thing for me. I had a research opportunity that I wanted to participate in upon my return. And so what I found is that this small length of a program of 2 weeks, which kind of fits into what Penn State calls the Maymester period of our calendar, really allowed me to kind of go on this really awesome opportunity, really awesome course abroad. While the course was really, really intensive since it was only 2 weeks long, I found that apart from the actual coursework that we were involved in Spain, we also got to go on a lot of different excursions, learned a lot culturally about the area that we were staying in, and about Europe as a whole. It was my first time visiting the continent, so it was a really, really cool experience for me. But what I found the most heartening about the study abroad programs and kind of the study abroad support that Penn State has to offer is that it's very, very flexible, and there really is a program for everyone, regardless of your major, regardless of your interests, and especially your schedule. Penn State does offer a lot of different programs that kind of fit to your needs. And I know a lot of them can also count for academic credit. I know for me personally, I was able to get 3 credits out of just a 2-week course that I went on. So there's a lot of different benefits. Obviously, this time is a little more difficult to kind of plan it around, but Penn State has and will continue to offer some really, really great programs for its students.
So that was great advice from Beth as well. So start researching those opportunities early. No matter what campus you go to, find the study abroad coordinator, the study away coordinator, and start speaking with them. Ask about what programs would be good for you and your major and your interest, and plan for that life-changing experience like Nanad had. Jackie, what are some of the best features about Penn State Greater Allegheny, besides the fact that it has greater in the name? You already told us that one. And what do you want students, prospective students, to know about it?
I'll go back to one of the first things I said. It really is the people. So we have faculty at our campus, and this is true across all the campuses and colleges, but we have faculty at our campus who are internationally and nationally recognized for the research they do, for the creative work that they do. They're in the cutting edge of their fields, but they are this incredible blend of people who have this deep research interest, but they're incredible teachers, and they have this commitment to students. We have students engaged in what's called CURE, course-based undergraduate research experiences, honors projects, all kinds of really interesting things that are happening on our campus. And I'm so appreciative of the faculty and the great work they do. But in addition to that, we have staff who just wake up every day, and their job and what drives them every day is making sure that our students have the very best that Penn State can offer. And we have the Gruskin Learning Center on our campus. We have the ACE Trio program. As I mentioned before, the folks in our libraries are incredible. But across the board, our DOS advising managers, student affairs staff, everybody is just so committed to making sure that our students can be the very best that they can be and have those be greater moments that I talked about earlier.
That was great. And that's another thing to point out, that no matter what campus you go to, you can get involved in real research. Some people think if they go to college, especially as an undergrad, they're just going to be sitting in a classroom and having people talk to them. But that's not the case here at Penn State. You can be so involved in doing the research that is going to change the world before you even get your degree. So really, it's a wonderful thing. Marie, how does the Penn State community and that value of the large network extend beyond graduation?
Oh, I love talking about alumni. And I want you, if you're thinking about joining Penn State, maybe you're thinking about 4 years, right? But after you get here, you're going to start thinking about being a Penn Stater for a lifetime, because that's what'll happen. And because you're going to experience the power of our alumni network behind you. I'll give you just a couple of examples. When we went to remote learning, we sent out a note to our alumni and said, how many of you want to, engage with our students? Right away, more than 100 of our alumni just in our college reached out and said, yes, what can I do? And that was happening in colleges and campuses across Penn State. That alumni network is so powerful. I want to tell just a small story that connects Jackie's advice to you about dreaming with alumni. So this was just a couple of years ago. I had a young woman who was planning to come to Penn State, and I said, what do you dream of doing after you graduate? And she said, I've always dreamed of being involved with Saturday Night Live. I love that show. Maybe your parents watch that show, but she said, and it just so happens that the legendary director of Saturday Night Live is a Penn State alum. We were able to reach out to him and set up a meeting for her with him. That's just one example of the way that our alumni network really engages to get behind our students, to support them, and to do anything they can, not only when they're students, but also when they graduate. So once a Penn Stater, always a Penn Stater.
That's a great story. I love that one. All right, that was great. Wonderful, everyone. Thank you so much. But now we're going to keep up with our tradition so far. We're going to do the lightning round. And if you've been keeping up and watching the programs, you know that means fast questions and short answers. So if I could have all our participants joining via Zoom to unmute your microphones. Marie, we're going to start off with you. What is your favorite creamery ice cream flavor?
Coconut chip. Coconut lovers, you're going to love it.
Jackie, same question?
Tea-berry.
Okay. Beth, I know you're not a big ice cream eater, but what are some of the other things you like to eat on your campus?
Well, as I like anything that has peanut butter in it, I really do. So anything.
Okay, Cynthia, how about you? What is your favorite creamery ice cream flavor?
Alumni Swirl always has been, always will be.
It is a delicious flavor. It really is. Nanad?
Gotta be Death by Chocolate for me.
It's very rich. There's like 5 different kinds of chocolate in it, and it is fantastic. Cynthia, what was your hardest class and favorite class while you were here at Penn State?
Mammalian physiology, but it was also my favorite, so it was a twofer.
That sounds very difficult. I'll agree with you. Nanad, same question.
This past semester, I took a biofluid mechanics class. It's probably the hardest class I've ever taken. My favorite class was a class I took my first year, actually, which was Intro to Engineering Design, and that's what really kind of drove me to go on that study abroad trip and to be an engineer.
Wonderful. Marie, what is your favorite building on campus?
My favorite building on campus has to be the Carnegie Building. The College of Communications is housed there, but it was built in 1904 and was the original library here at Penn State.
And that's one really great thing about Penn State is you have this mix of buildings, really historical buildings from the early 1900s and ultra-modern buildings, like thinking about like the law building. It's really fun to be on campus. Beth, what's the prettiest spot on your campus?
Definitely our pond. It's right by our student center and library and chapel, and it's just such a beautiful location.
It really is, and you get to watch the ducks swim.
We do.
Jackie, what is the best spot on your campus to stop and think for a little bit?
Well, I would say two things there. One is if the weather's really nice, we have Adirondack chairs that are spread out across the campus, and everybody loves to use those and just hang out outside. We have 52 acres on our campus, and people refer to it as a haven. I mean, it's just a really beautiful spot. If the weather's not so nice, I would say hang out in this building that's right behind me, the tall building. Frable Building has a student lounge and gallery as you walk into the front of the building, and students like to hang out there. There's cool furniture, there's charging stations, there's student art that comes from Lori Hepner's photography class, and it's a really great spot. But selfishly, it's close to my office, so I like to I like when students hang out there because I can go say hello and see how their day is going.
Great. Marie, have you ever gotten to ride the Blue Bus?
Yes, I have.
And why did you?
I was able to be coach for a day with the Penn State football team, and it was unforgettable.
That sounds wonderful. We'll look for you calling plays. Nanad, what is the best campus meal?
The best on-campus meal for me, I lived in South Halls, so that's one of the kind of housing regions at University Park, and the dining commons for South Halls right at Fair Commons had chicken parm on Monday nights, which is probably my favorite meal.
All right, Cynthia, what is your favorite on-campus meal?
I love the Hub, so I'm going to stick with some of the commercial stuff and say that it was Panda Express.
That's good too. Beth, what is your best piece of advice for a prospective student?
I think Jackie nailed it at the beginning. Dream big. Come into this university with, even if you don't know exactly what you want to do, just keep exploring the opportunities that will give you and that will provide for you. And just follow your dreams.
Okay, Jackie, she mentioned your advice. Anything you'd like to build on?
Yeah, I would also say never give up. I mean, learning's hard. College education is going to involve hard work, and there are going to be moments when you're going to face challenges, and those challenges just help us to learn more. So rely on us, rely on the people around, the students, the faculty, the staff, our alumni, to help you get through those moments, but just never, ever give up. A Penn State degree is going to change your life.
Cynthia and Nanad, you're the closest to them. Cynthia, what's your best advice?
Oh, I would definitely say be involved. Leadership has been now a quarter of my life. It honestly has shaped who I am about to be in a professional world, and it is worth every single moment of it. And you will meet some of the greatest, most dedicated people and most dedicated students of Penn State, some of them, yeah.
Nanad?
I'd say two things. One, don't be afraid of unique or new opportunities that you might be unfamiliar with. And then two, definitely try to set small goals. I found that doing that really helps you kind of savor the moment when you're able to achieve something at Penn State.
Thank you. Marie, would you give us some final advice and thoughts for the day?
Oh, I'd be glad to. You know, we've been talking today and sharing a lot of what we call here at Penn State, we call these We Are stories. And we've been sharing those with you about the warmth and the breadth of the Penn State community, and telling you what we're going to be offering you. But I want to turn that around a little bit, and I want to ask you to think about what will you bring to the Penn State community. Each one of you has been offered this opportunity to join us at Penn State because you have unique talents and skills and attributes, and you are an achiever and you are a doer. And so we know that you are going to bring something of great value to us. You're going to be a cherished part of the Penn State community and bring great value to us. And I want you to know that we are waiting for you. We are excited about your joining us, and that you are ready. So I hope and I look forward to your joining us and helping us tell the next great series of We Are stories.
And we can't wait to see what that is you bring to Penn State. Great advice all around. I want to thank you all for answering questions today, and I want to thank everyone who tuned in to watch and learn. I hope we answered your questions, but we do know you have many more. I want to remind you that the final event of this series will be next week, Wednesday, May 27th at 3:30 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time Same place, class of2024.psu.edu, and we're going to be focusing on the value of a Penn State education. In that session, we're going to discuss topics centered around our ability to continue delivering educational excellence and expertise and the resources that we have for this. We will post all of the videos from each of these sessions at class of2024.psu.edu for future viewing or if you came in late and missed part of it. Thank you all again, and welcome to the Penn State community.